Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rushell and this space is all about healthy locks, confidence, and staying rooted literally and spiritually. Today we're going to be talking about the button stage of the lock journey. This is one of the most important stages but also the most misunderstood. So this is when your hair starts to transition from your twists or your coils into actual locks. So if you've been dealing with puffiness, frizziness, and uneven textures, that's all a part of it. And today I'm breaking it down. So let's get right into it. The button stage usually starts around month 3 to 6, depending on your hair type, your routine, and how you started your lock journey. So whether you started with comb coil, 2-strand twists, and interlocking or freeform will affect when you start noticing buttons. So what is happening here during the button stage is your hair begins to mat internally. So you might feel soft or thickness in different areas of your lock as it is forming. So inside you will see it. That is called the butt. This is your hair tangling, coiling, and beginning to fuse together. As I've mentioned before, the button phase is not going to be uniform. It is the most ununiform phase of your lock journey. Some of your locks are gonna bud faster than others. You might have a section that are still unraveling at the root or at the end, while you'll have another lock that is swollen up. That is normal. This is also the stage where your hair texture may begin to change. So your locks will either look frizzy, puffy, or they may even look messy, and that's okay. Like, that is what it needs to do. Let's get real, y'all. This stage can really mess with your confidence, and here's why I'm saying that. Okay, so here's what you'll notice with your locks. You may notice more frizziness, right? So you'll see more flyaways, especially around your crown and your edges, right? Swelling. So this is when, as I said, some of your locks are gonna be thick or more balloon in some area. A lot of unevenness. Mentally, this is where you may start feeling your insecurities kicking. Maybe your locks don't look polished like what you see online. Maybe you are even tempted to cut them off, start over. But trust me, I get it. I was there, y'all, okay? This stage is not ugly. It is just transformation, okay? You're in the middle of a messy stage. Like, this stage is messy. It's the messy middle. This is when self-love, patience, and trusting in the process really matters the most. And I'm speaking from experience as well, because I remember during this process, I thought about cutting my locks off. I thought about getting lock extensions just because my hair was shrinking so much and I just didn't like how it looked. So trust me, trust the process. Next, we're gonna be talking about Loc Care during this stage, okay? This stage is very important that you are still keeping up with your routine, and moisture is going to be your best friend right now, okay? Now, here are some things that I wish I had done during this time period because I was not taking care of my locks. As I told y'all, my hair was very, very dry. So I would definitely use a water-based spray moisturizer. You can make your own DIY, which I'll leave a link up here because I do have a DIY recipe. I'll leave it up here. You definitely also want to seal in your moisture with light oils like grapeseed, olive oils, and you don't want to use heavy products or butters. They will clog your hair and cause buildup while it's budding. Don't do that, okay? And depends on how you start your hair, of course. You do want to be washing your hair as well, but as I said, depending on your scalp and your lifestyle, you want to, wash your hair maybe about every 3 to 4 weeks. And you also want to make sure that you're using a residue-free shampoo as well. And, you want to make sure that you're squeezing your locks so that you're getting any excessive moisture out, because you don't want to cause mildew. Like, your hair can get mildew. So as I said, you want to definitely avoid heavy cream-based products. Now, when it comes to conditioning your hair when you're shampooing it, I use conditioner. Started out my lock journey, so I will leave that up to you, but they can Depends on which ones you're using. They can get trapped inside the budding process, and now you have long-term buildup. So, you know, up to your own discretion. Okay, y'all, so let's talk about dyeing our hair, because I get asked this question all the time. Okay, Shell, can you dye your hair during the budding stage? And technically, yes, you can, but would I recommend it during this phase? I would not recommend it during this phase unless you like me and you're like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. Okay, here's why I don't recommend it. I don't recommend dyeing your hair during the budding phase because your hair is still locking. Dyeing can dry it out, it can loosen up the button, and it can also cause damage if not done properly. Okay, so if you're gonna dye your hair during this process, I highly recommend, especially during the budding stage, I highly recommend that you go to a loctician who understands colors and locks, and then go from there. And if you already dyed your hair, you know, before you started your lock journey or as you're starting your lock journey, just make sure that you're taking proper care of it and you're keeping up with your moisture game, okay? Make sure your moisture game is strong, all right? Because color is beautiful, but the health of our locks does come first, and our hair will be damaged by the dye. Now, me personally, I did dye my hair myself 6 months into my lock journey. Yeah, so I dyed it at the 6-month mark. And here we are today. So, you know, up to your own personal discretion. And I will leave a little videos up here of how I dyed my hair. And this is the same process that I used to today. I just be using box dye. So up to your own discretion. I don't recommend it unless you're gonna talk to a loctician, but do what you wanna do. As I told y'all, the budding stage is one of the most delicate stages of your lock journey. So you wanna approach this stage with care, okay? So when it comes to styling and maintenance, it is very important that you are not over retwisting your hair, okay? So you want to stick to that 4 to 6 weeks window. It is plenty of time for your roots to get loosened up and for you to get a retwist. You want to also avoid like tight styles that are going to pull onto your root. Don't pick at your locks or separate your locks too aggressively. It is okay to gently separate them because you don't want them to merge together, especially if you know that they're merging together. However, you want to do this carefully, especially depends on how you start your lock, because you might separate it and next thing you know, you have an unraveled lock, okay? I would definitely embrace protective styles like head wraps. I know I wore a lot of head wraps during my budding stage. I highly recommend that you use a cotton scarf or a silk scarf or a bonnet at night. Cotton absorbs moisture, y'all. Cotton absorbs moisture, and that can cause breakage in your hair, and we don't want that. So we're gonna stay away from cotton and we're gonna go to satin or silk, all right? Let's go deeper for a moment. And I just wanna remind y'all that the budding stage isn't just about physical changes. It is a mirror of your own growth. You're shedding the idea of perfectionism. You're letting go of control. You're learning to love what doesn't fit in that traditional societal mold, that traditional norm. Your locks are going to be a physical record of your journey, right? Every poof, every frizz, every stubborn root, every bud forming. So as you're going through this stage and you may be struggling, and even though your power and your resilience is growing, but you still find yourself asking yourself questions as, why do I look like this? I would definitely switch the narrative and start asking myself, what am I growing through, as I said? Because this stage is not just about the physical change, it's internal growth. This stage is going to be scary. Don't rush it. Don't fight it. Let your crown teach you about yourself. You're going to learn a lot about yourself. One thing I definitely learned in this phase was that I attach my self-worth to my hair. Isn't that crazy? Like, I learned that, and I had to learn and grow through that. I had to learn and grow that my hair is just an extension of who I am. It's not me. So those are just some things that I'm saying. Like, if you're finding yourself stumbling over and you're interested in self-growth and personal development, I would start switching the narrative and start going in, start to analyze and understand what's happening. You're in the budding stage right now. I'm going to leave you with some tips, some friendly reminders. to just help you get through this process. And the first thing is trust your hair, okay? It knows what it's doing. You may not like the frizziness, you may not like the poof, but I promise you, trust your hair, it knows what it's doing. Stay consistent. Water, sleep, clean products, low manipulation, get rest, but stay consistent with taking care of your hair. If you want to learn how to be consistent and more disciplined in life, start with your hair. I promise it's gonna help you, okay? Don't compare your locks. Stop. Don't do it. If you didn't even think about doing it, great. If you're seeing yourself doing it, stop. Don't compare your locks. Everyone's lock form at their own pace. It is your own unique journey. Take pictures. Take a lot of pictures. You're going to be looking back and you're going to be so amazed at your growth and how far you have come. You might be in a whole different space 5-10 years from now when you look back at your locks and you're like, wow, I have come so far, okay? Speak love over your hair. Speak love over yourself. Words have powers, okay? Say, my hair is beautiful. I am growing with my locks. Do whatever you need to do to speak life into yourself. Words have power, so watch what you're saying. You got this. Trust me, you got this. This button stage is only the beginning of a long and powerful and unique journey. And as I said, as you're consistent, you trust in yourself, you trust the process, it is all going to work out. I promise y'all. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell icon, because in our next video, we're going to be talking about all about the teenage stage, y'all. And this is where things get real, because the teenage days, I don't even want to get into it, okay? And drop a speeding emoji in the comments if you're in the button stage right now. Tell me about your experience. I would love to hear about it and support you. I respond to as many people as I can, y'all. Y'all know how we get down. Until next time, don't forget to protect your crown, love your roots, and grow with grace. I'll see y'all in the next